All right. Hey guys, we are back with COVID Chats, and I am here with Mila Koren. Thank you so
Hi.
much for joining.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, a lot of people probably know you from dating around, but before we even talk
Yes.
about that, why don't you just talk about who are you? What do you do? What are you about?
Yeah.
People know you.
My name is Mila Koren. I'm originally from Central Illinois, but I kind of grew up there, Sacramento and New York. So
Okay.
those places. I'm a creative. I I think I like more fine-tuned like that word and what it meant to me when I moved to New York. Um, but yeah, I am a creative. I what is it? When I first moved here, I think I was in what editorial makeup, and then I moved into like luxury fashion, and now I'm like going into more like mental health um, and like safe space for LGBTQIA plus community.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Central Illinois. What about what parts? I'm from Southern Illinois. So,
I was born in Champaign.
oh my gosh. Okay. So, you know Carbondale?
Yes, I've heard of Carbondale. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's crazy.
Yeah. So,
Oh my God.
okay,
And
cool.
I have family in Decatur, Illinois.
Oh my gosh, it's such a small
Yeah,
world. I lived
this is
by Sacramento as well in Vacaville.
okay. I was young, so I don't know the places, but like if I asked my grandmother, she'd be like, "Oh my God, I know where that is."
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes
Yeah.
away. So we have like
Okay.
touch points pretty.
Yes, that's crazy.
Well, as a creative, what do you feel is what is inspiring for you? What is it that makes you want to create?
Mm, I think uh, the ability to just be yourself.
Mhm.
I don't when you're when you are growing up in the environment you are in, I don't think oftentimes you're told to like be yourself and be authentic. And so yeah, I think that's something that inspires me of just me being myself and then seeing others just like whatever their talents are, just seeing them thrive and hone in on those talents, whether they're like painters or musicians or whatever the case may be. Um, and yeah, it's just beautiful to look at. And then I think too, you end up seeing like how many people they inspire. You inspire from just being so much of yourself, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't until I actually moved to Portland about 5.5 years ago that I even
Yeah,
learned the term creative. Because,
yeah.
I thought either you do this, a box within creativity
Mhm.
itself. And then I realized I can make that look however I want, whether
Yeah,
I want to write music or I feel like singing one day, or if I'm painting, like that is still encompassed in that. And that's
yeah,
valid. And
yeah,
so
it
how do you
is.
find that? It's
Yes,
amazing.
you're valid. Yes.
I love it. Well, going back to dating around. So you appeared on season one of the Netflix
Mhm.
show Dating Around.
Yes.
How was that? Was it nerve wracking? You date five people all within the same evening, basically.
Yes. It was a week. So I took a week off from work, and like me and all the crew were just in the same hotel. And so um, every night, like maybe around 7, they would come get me and be like, it would be a blind date. So I wouldn't know who I was dating or who I was meeting. Yeah, it was a bit nerve wracking because you're just like, oh, right. I'm not like a huge dater already.
Uh,
So, and I've never been on a blind date. So yeah, it was very much of like, oh wow, okay, this is how it
Completely
is.
out of
And
your comfort zone.
yeah, throwing me into like, oh, being very social and like more extroverted.
Yeah. How was
Yeah.
that just like your energy? I feel like I would feel really exhausted after just a whole week of
Yeah.
pouring yourself out, getting to know new people.
Yeah. Mm, I well, my first night, I remember the director, her name's Wilda, and she's a queer woman of color. And she introduced herself to me, and she came up to me and she's like, or she pulled me to the side and she was like, like, I wanted to let you know, like I picked you, like I wanted you to I wanted more of us to be like in the mainstream and like a more like positive outlook on us and for more people to see us. And she was like, so when you're filming, it's not just you, it's you're representing all of us. And so that, like, first it made me emotional because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like, oh my God, I don't even know you, but like you really like touched my heart. And then I think that did definitely add not pressure, but a little like I guess positive reinforcement of, this is what you're here to do. And yeah, just there's not, especially we filmed it 2 years ago. Especially back then there wasn't a lot of like women I can say that like Black women that look like me just being on TV, not that they're not out there, but they're not being shown in a positive light. So yeah, it gave me more of like a oomph to just express myself and be who I am.
Yeah, and that's why I felt so connected with your episode as well, because you watch it, and there's not very as much representation, but then you see a strong Black woman who is
Yeah.
also very open about her sexuality, and I was just like, this is awesome. And I've noticed
Oh,
that you have also posted that you get many DMs all the time of people so happy and thankful for your
yeah.
art.
Yeah, which is like really beautiful. And like I didn't know we filmed the show, and then we filmed the show in like May of 2018, and I last year on Valentine's Day it came out.
Mhm.
And so like I didn't know how it was going to be or how it was going to look or who was even going to see it. And I remember like my first couple messages coming in, and it would just be women and women from all over the world, like Austria and Tokyo, like
Wow.
just expressing how they felt seen, no matter what their ethnicity or race was, how they just felt seen. Like, thank you for being on that. And like showing me I can be who I am, or, making me comfortable to come out to my parents.
Wow.
So that was, it was very like overwhelming and beautiful, and made me like more proud the fact that I said yes to doing it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you had no idea that how much of an
No.
impact that would play.
Not at all. I mean, I honestly was like, maybe someone will watch it. It was a good experience, but yeah, no, it's and even to this day, I get a lot of messages of, just people in general, whether they've just watched or whatever, just how inspired they were. So yeah,
Wow,
it feels good.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And, well, given the state of where we are in the world and COVID and everything, has
Mhm.
that created a new normal for you? How have you been navigating mental health during this time?
Yeah. Um, I think my navigation through COVID was a bit different. In like late January, I had a work accident, and so I got a concussion, and I've never had one before. And from that, I like my speech was really messed up. Just a lot of functions were very altered for me. So I was already quarantining before that was like a thing. I was like at my friends. They're like my sisters. I was at their house, and they were like taking care of me for months.
Oh,
Um, yeah. So I think I want to say like 2.5 weeks ago, I moved into like my place now. And so I experienced the going outside, with masks on, and like, spraying everything with alcohol and things like that. But it was my first like throw myself out there into like the world since it had happened.
oh, wow. So you had already
Yeah.
been basically navigating quarantine life
Yeah.
before then.
Yes. I was inside and just, very like, how am I gonna like just trying to get back to where I was?
Do you
Yeah.
feel back within yourself now through all of that, or do you feel like it's going to be more of a process?
Um, yeah, definitely more of a process, but I mean, I can tell you from like the January to now, I'm a lot like the fact that, I can do this, I can be on this video call with you and like speak sentences. Yeah, it's so much better than it was. So, baby steps now. But
Traumatic. Good God.
yeah, it was crazy, but um yeah, I'm good. And I'm so grateful for like, people that actually care and, to care of me.
Wow. And I mean, not only that, in COVID now we're having a very, nothing, I wouldn't say it's nothing new, but a very
Yeah.
publicized race movement going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, how do you, because I know I keep using the word energy because I know you're a very woo person as well. So people have like
Yes.
energy, and I'm like, energy is everything.
It
But
is.
how has your energy been during this time? Because I know for a lot of people of color and women of color, it's an extremely draining, hard time. How have you been feeling with all of this? What do you
Yeah.
where do you see yourself in all of this?
It was, definitely at first, like very heavy.
Yeah.
Um, like for everyone, I made sure I checked on all of just all of my friends, my Black friends, my friends of color, to make sure how they were doing in their headspace, because we are coming off of a pandemic, and I think the pandemic energy was, it was very like a transformative energy. A lot happened, but it was very, you have to, especially here in New York, you have to sit. I've never, that in the concussion, but I've never sat still for so long and just not done anything but just inner work. You know what I mean? And I felt like it pushed a lot of people to do a lot of inner work and a lot of who am I, and just work that they wouldn't have done otherwise. So to put that on top of um, the killing of George Floyd and other Black people, um, it was a lot, but I think again another transformative experience, because people have gotten together that you wouldn't have seen normally together in union, and a lot more love has been spread. And it's not even like it's only America or one state in America experiencing this. Like the whole world is experiencing this. So it makes a louder noise, and it makes people really think, again, just think about who they are and what they want to do, and how they want to spread love and what they want to do with their energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just talking about that today about how for me growing up, you know, like a looser hair texture and lighter skin tone, I felt
Yeah.
within the Black community, I didn't know where my place was growing up. I feel
Hmm.
with, I'm too Black for the white crowd, and then I'm not Black enough for the Black crowd. And
Yeah.
I always just felt in the middle. And I mean, not for the first time, but in this instance, I felt such a closeness with people. I could just be like, well, maybe I'm judged right now because of this, and well, you're judged right now because of this. And there's such um, a communal thing that we're coming together, and all of that, like colorism and things like that, is really being set aside on for the most part.
Hmm.
And through something so horrific, there has still been something beautiful that has come out of
Yeah.
it. And the Black community has really just come together, being like, okay, we're going to put all this hatred, this
Yeah.
within the community aside. And with the pandemic, it really was just an opportunity to sit with yourself. That's all you really had. And it
Oh
was
yeah.
it was really uncomfortable, I feel like, at first.
Yes.
I'm the type that's like, I find a lot of my purpose in the things that I do, and to
Yes.
not have any of that, and just be like, okay, well, I guess it's time to do some shadow work again. And I'm like,
Yes.
this is
You're like,
not.
huh, healing my inner child. Oh, okay, I guess that's what I'm doing.
I know I used to do so many different what do you call those, like different, not cleanses, but different,
Hmm.
I can't think of the word, but it would be different
Hmm.
steps where you go through your shadow work and inner child.
Yeah.
And I would always skip the inner child. I would just be like, well,
Uh-huh.
let me do the abundance. Let me do all these different things. And I was just sat there with like, let's work on this. And I'm like,
Yeah. You're like, oh, I guess. Do I have to? All right.
your ancestors are like, well, you don't have anything else to do. So let's just do
So
it.
make it work. Make it work some way. Get into it. Yes. 100%.
Well, with all of that, what do you do to pour back into you right now? How do you refuel and refeed your spirit right
Um, how to pour back into myself. I um I definitely I definitely do like minimum once a month Reiki.
now?
Um, that's specifically that's what got my speech back to like where it is now. So I definitely do Reiki once a month. That's like minimum. I make sure I like meditate every day when I wake up in the morning, just to like center myself. And I meditate usually to like a frequency
Mm-hmm.
of like abundance, or I don't know, like whatever I feel that day. I'm just like, I'm gonna work on my sacral chakra or something like that. But yes, I meditate, I do yoga. I've been practicing it for years, and then um again, as you sit with yourself, you're like, what, let me just bring that back, let me rediscover myself a bit with yoga. And yeah, just being to myself and being at peace. Like I live by myself now, so I do have a lot of time to just, you know think about like what I need, and what I need to better. Or just recently, like I mentioned, inner child, and then like truly loving yourself. I've been really getting into that, because I don't think we're taught also to how to love ourselves. They're like, love yourself, but we're not, well, how? Tell me, like, what are the steps to loving myself? And
Yeah.
not just the way I look, or not just like, yeah, I like that quality about myself, but like you and the raw.
Mhm. And learning when you ask, like, what do I need? And that is such a loaded question when you haven't just
Yeah.
sat there and figuring out what is it doing, what is like what I need, what is my love language for myself,
Yeah.
not for just
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
How can I show up for myself? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Those are all huge. That's beautiful. It sounds like you have a really concrete practice for
I'm
yourself.
I'm trying. And then also, I was watching a YouTube video too, just to like piggyback off that. And the woman said, like, in as far as self-love, treat yourself like you would your best friend or like your child. Like, would you let your best friend do that? You know what I mean? Because I feel like, you might be the same way, but I'm very caring about everyone and fixing everything. And but we don't tend to handle ourselves with that same care. So yeah, that was like, oh, you're right. You're right. I need to care for myself as I would, a family member or friend.
Hmm. And that's
Yeah.
what my one of my therapists was just, well, not one of my therapists. I have one, but it feels like I
Mhm.
have many. My therapist was saying, he was like, let's actually table a lot of the bigger things that you feel are going on. How is your child going on right now? I'm like, oh, my son. He was like, no, no. What about your inner child? When was the
Mm,
last time have you showered? Have you? And
yeah,
you forget about the basics of like, oh yeah. And when was the last time you had a comfort food? When was the last time you read a book that you felt would be enjoyable?
right.
And just taking the time, that we have so much time that even if it feels like there's so much on our plate, getting work back or unemployment or all these fights that we're all fighting, it's let's just sit and be that person to show up for our inner child. Like, what does
Yeah,
she need? What does he need? And I just was like, oh, I always put it in a complex, you know, thing. And it's just like, we really just showing up for our inner child right now. And I was like, wow,
yeah,
that seems so basic, yet I'm like, why haven't I done these things?
yeah. Like, what? I'm sorry, myself. Like, I'm
No,
gonna
I
do
felt so
better.
bad. I was like, that's really deep. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Cool.
very, very can very much relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't want to take all of your time, but is there something that you want to leave the viewers with, of words of empowerment or
Mm-hmm.
encouragement, or however, whatever's feeding you right now that you would want to share?
Hmm. Um, Maybe just to um, be authentically you. It helps so much in the long run, no matter what your age is. It's never too late to really just find out who you are and feed that person. So we're all here on this earth for a reason, and you're doing everyone a disservice not to love that part of yourself and grow that part of yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, that's
yeah,
beautiful. Thank you for taking the time and sharing your very
sure.
calming energy. You're just like a radiant human. I know that you just have like only up from here, and
Thank you so
continue
much.
to watch your journey. And I will definitely tag your Instagram so everyone else can follow along and just watch the amazing things that you're doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, you take care and have an amazing rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, love.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh.